If this video gets 40,000 likes, I will do an entire episode of setup wars, completely covered in dbrand skins. My face, my arms, my neck. Should be an interesting episode.
What is up, people, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we will be taking a look at the ever popular Ed from TechSource, and we will be breaking down his success into easy to understand chunks. Now, this will be by no means a fully comprehensive list of what makes him so successful, but it should shine some light on tips and techniques that you can use to improve your own videos. Now, jumping right in, TechSource is a technology-focused channel that regularly features PC-themed content, including PC builds, benchmarks, reviews, and showcases. Many of his showcases feature the gear lists full of interesting items that take place in his builds, and they come in at varying price ranges. In addition to his PC builds, he also does monthly reviews on the products that make it into the builds. What is perhaps his claim to fame, though, is his user-submitted showcase known as Setup Wars, in which 5 fans compete for cash prizes and are judged by others in the community. So, since writing this analysis, he's also started doing vlogs, but they don't make up a large portion of his uploads, so I'm not going to include that in the analysis here. Also, a big contributor to his success is his post frequency and creative use of thumbnail images. He regularly uploads multiple times a week, multiple times a month, and sometimes they are back to back for days on end. This allows his fans to stay up to date on all of the happenings of his channel. Plus, since his videos usually aren't that long, about like 3 to 6 minutes, his fans don't suffer from upload fatigue. And that is when they get so many videos at once that they can't watch all of them. And then, YouTube algorithms come in and just mess things up. So he doesn't actually suffer from that because although he posts every day, he does space them out a bit. Also, when he does upload, his thumbnails are really high contrast. And I mean like the background, and then, you got 2 competing colors that, focus your eye on the blue and the green. And it's a good way to catch people when they're scrolling by that they, more often to click on the video. So good thumbnails is another good thing that he's doing. His style, most of his videos feature him sitting center frame. So me right now, I am on the right side of the frame, I believe. And I might be on the left side, but I am on the corner of the frame. He's usually dead center in the middle, looking straight into the camera. I'm alternating between my screen and the lens. And, it's as if he is having a conversational tone where he's sitting there talking straight to you. He also features lots of glamour shots of the products. Usually they are on a white background so that the product pops against the background. And this is done to put more emphasis on the product itself. Also, for his user-submitted showcases, he encourages submitters to post many different pictures of their setups from different angles so that he can alternate between these angles when he's talking about them, and it just shows more depth and is more interesting to the viewer. In addition to this, he also varies up his shots on his own, and he mixes in a bunch of different angles, just for the interest factor and to keep things fresh. So, why it works? Just going into all this, and then I will. So the way that this is gonna work is I'm gonna go over the what it is, how it works, and at the end, I'm going to have some takeaways, and interspersed between that, I'm also going to break down a couple of his frames from his videos to show you what he's actually doing with the lighting and whatnot. Right now, I'm on the why it works section, and it works mostly because he creates a sense of community with his subscribers. So when you go to his channel, you feel as though you're not just watching a random YouTuber. You are watching him. He is involving you in the process, so it's not like a you and him. It's not a you versus him, you versus everyone else. It's a you and them together, building something nice. He also takes polls regularly. And this is back to what I was talking about with the engagement thing. He takes suggestions from his fans on what to do next. So, it's also creates a sense of participation. Viewers really like to feel as though they have some sort of control over what comes next. That's why you'll see a lot of YouTubers talking about, what should I do? What would you guys like to see? Because they want to include you in the process as much as possible. And that's something that I think that many people should do if they're starting up a YouTube channel, creating a YouTube channel, looking to build it, blow it up. You should definitely create a sense of community and loyalty from your fans. And, involving people in the process is a good way to do that. Lastly, he mixes humor with his delivery. Now, not all of his jokes are like Muhammad Ali land, RIP, but it does make him more personable. He presents himself in a calm and relaxed way, and at the end of the day, he's himself, and it comes through on the camera, and I think the viewers really notice that, and I think that what helps bond them all together. So launching into it now, I'm going to jump to a frame of his from one of his most recent videos and show you what's going on with it. So right here, I'm just going to jump in. This is the lighting setup that I'm going to break down right now. So he's purposefully being lit from the top down. He has a couple soft boxes. You can't see them. They're out of frame. They're pointing up. Just to give a little context, I am also lit from a couple soft boxes. I got one soft box over there behind the camera. It's pointing this way, so it's bouncing off the ceiling, hitting me, and all that lighty goodness. And there's one behind me that's lighting all this up in the back side of me. There's also another light you can't see. It's angled over that way, and it just adds the overall light in the room. And I don't know if you can see that, but that's that little light. It just gives a little something in the background. So with him though, he has two lights. Whoops, that's not the right thing. Let's fix that. 1 second. All right, so he has two lights, and they are angled in such a way that the light is bouncing down. That's why he's got good, even light all over, and it's not distracting. So there are shadows. I don't know if you can see them very well, but there are shadows all over the place, but they're not hard shadows, except this one right there. They're not really hard shadows, so they're not distracting. They don't take you out of the moment. You're not looking at those when you should be looking at him. So it's a good overall balanced lighting setup, kind of like something I was going for here. Mine is more directional because I got this big light source over here, and it's hitting me from right over here. But because of the size of the light source, which I'll go over in another one of my videos and upcoming, is how light works and how you can use that for videos. But because it's so big, it's not casting really large shadows, and that's something that he's got going on right here. Additionally, checking out the framing, if I was to block that off into sections, you'd see that he is directly in the middle of the frame. He is the main focus. So like if I was to outline him, which is kind of already happening by the chair, you can see it's kind of creating its own little outline, forcing you to look directly at him. But he is right there, right the center of attention, and it's kind of like your eye is drawn into him. And that's kind of what that's kind of what he was going for. So that's that frame. Taking up another frame, you can definitely see his lights reflected in his skin, and that's because it's coming from a more directional position right now. It's also being pointed up, but it's a little more directional than that one. So just breaking down the composition, if I was to break this up into threes, and these are rough threes, I don't really actually have the grid going on right now, but if I did, this would be something like what it looks like. He is on the side, so it's also good composition in this case, because even though he's on the side, it's balancing it with this computer action that's happening. Kind of like how I'm balanced right here with the stuff that's in that action. I'm in that area over there. So it's a good source of balance. You don't feel overloaded on one side and really barren on the other. It's a good thing. So make sure you have your composition a-okay. Then once again, he's got the lighting going on really good. The shadows aren't too bad. You can tell it's directional. I just crapped it out, but you can see the directional because you can see the shadows going that way, as evidenced by that. And the shadow, that's not a good color. The shadow that's on his face and down here and this arm. So, just make note of which way the light's facing and what that's doing to you in the pic, or in the screenshot, in the action. Just make sure you know what the light's doing, because that's lighting is a big part of video. It's 49%. I believe that audio is the other 51. So good audio. There's another video. By the way, there's a video coming up on that, lighting and audio for video, and how to maximize that so it's doing what it needs to be doing for your videos. But yeah, so he's got the light going pretty well. And now into the thumbnail, the last thing that I'm gonna actually super focus on in the case study. But his thumbnails, like I was saying, he's got this heavy contrast thing going on, where it's like you see the blue words and the green number, and it just pops out at you when you're scrolling down. You're looking down this way, saying, what could I watch today from TechSource? And boom, it's all there popping out. Even this color, it's just different from the background, so it stands out, something that you're gonna want to see. Some of these videos aren't actually doing it so well, but for the most part, all of his videos feature some heavy contrast that's really good for the eye. It's good graphic design elements right there. In some of the cases, he doesn't have this going on, such as that's also not a good color, man. In this area right here, note the contrast. In this area right here, but the items are focusing as the focal point in the thumbnail. So even though he doesn't have these colors and these words, he's still got something to catch your eye and make it pop. And that's what you want to do with the thumbnails. Give it something that makes people want to stop and say, I really want to watch this video, so I'm going to look and see what this video is all about. That's kind of what you want to do. But that pretty much wraps up this case study. Like I said, it's not super in-depth. I can make them longer and really dive into some topics, but for this first one, I wanted to kind of keep it light and just go over the bare essentials of what he's doing that's working really well, and how you can take some of these strategies and incorporate it into your own deal. But the top takeaways I would say is he knows his audience really well. He's been doing this for a while, and knowing your audience is a surefire way to create content that interests them. You want to make something that that's really going to resonate with the people, and not all people too. You don't want to focus on too broad of a topic. You kind of want to stick to a niche. I made a video on that a little while back. I'll link it up. But you want to stick to a niche that people are going to engage with, and make content around that. And speaking in this, you also want to know yourself. Know your strengths, know your weaknesses, know if you're funny. Like I said earlier, not all of his jokes super land, but they land enough because he knows how funny he is. And me, I'm not super funny, so I don't try to make super jokes. But he's kind of funny, he makes me laugh sometimes. So he knows what works, and you should keep it up. If you're a comedian, throw some jokes in there. If you're not, maybe stick to a more serious thing. But he keeps it working well. He knows what he's good at. He knows what the people like. He gives them what they need. And fortunately, it all works out. He's been doing this for a while. He's got it down. But and like I was saying, make a lane for yourself. He's made that lane for himself. In the beginning, there wasn't too many PC themed submission style contests where people send in their setups, pictures of their setups, and then he judges them and other people judges them. People weren't really doing that back then, but he kind of he pioneered that whole lane, and because of that, he carved out this niche for himself. So that when people thought not only setup wars, but when people thought sending in their setups, they thought TechSource, and that's kind of what you want to do. You want to build that reputation, and that's what I'm trying to do with these case studies here. So if you really like these case studies, I would really encourage you to give it a thumbs up, because that's how I really judge what you guys are interested in. So if you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you disliked it, give it a thumbs down. And as always, I encourage you to subscribe, because I post new content every week. I try and keep it around Mondays and Fridays. It's not really located on my page too formally, because I'm trying to keep it up, trying to just get into this thing. So Mondays and Fridays are when you can really expect it. But subscribe, like, comment, share, trying to build a community so I know what is good for you guys. So if you have any suggestions, please leave them down in the comments below. As always, I'm gonna link up everything in the description. There's gonna be a couple annotations, but yeah. Until next time, my name's DeAngelo, and thanks for watching. Peace.